What's up guys, today I'm going to be showing you what I consider to be one of the easiest methods to make a bootable Hackintosh backup. When I was new to making a Hackintosh, I was doing research on this and there was a lot of mixed information and it made it kind of hard to understand what information I actually needed. But after doing research, I've come up with what I have personally found to be one of the easiest methods. It's certainly not the only way. Now, one thing to note is that I did a vanilla clean install with Clover. So if you are using Multi-Beast, I'm not sure if this will work the exact same just because of how Multi-Beast will install the kex and whatnot. I'm sure it will be similar, but I can't tell you with 100% certainty that it will work the same with Multi-Beast, but it's probably pretty close. So one thing I want to talk about quickly before we get into this is my backup system. So I actually have 3 SSDs in my computer. One is my main OS X drive. The second one is a bootable clone, and the third one is also a bootable clone, but I use that to mess with updates. And the reason is, I'm sure all of you know that with a Hackintosh, you can't necessarily just update immediately. Like I can't go from Sierra to High Sierra necessarily and have everything work. So I have that drive just so I can fiddle with all the updates and make sure nothing gets messed up on the other 2. I do full-time video production, so for me, having a system that's always up and running is really important. And I don't want to be messing with updates and then mess up my backup and then my main drive dies and now I just have nothing. So having 3 is a little overkill. It's nice to know that if I want to mess with new kex or new updates, I can do all of that on that drive. And when I verify that it's actually working, I can just carbon copy clone it to the other drives and I am ready to go. All right, so the things that you're gonna need to do this are Clover Configurator and then also Carbon Copy Cloner. And now the reason I'm using Carbon Copy Cloner is because I think it's one of the easier ones to use. There's also Super Duper, which is free, and then there is Clonezilla. So the first thing that you're gonna do is actually open up Disk Utility. You're gonna find the drive that you want to use. In this case, it's the one I have right here called Tinker. You're gonna erase it and then format with Mac OS X Extended Journaled. Erase. And now once that's done, we're gonna go into Carbon Copy Cloner. You're gonna do New Task, and then you're going to select the source. This is the drive that you wanna clone. So in my case, I want to do Backup OS X, and then for the destination, I want that to be Tinker. So I have my source and my destination here, and I like to have safety net off. This basically just means that whatever is on the source drive is copied over to the destination, and if there's a file that's on the destination but not on the source, it will delete that. I like to have my drives match completely, so that's why I have that turned off. And then from there, all you're gonna do is hit clone and run now, and then we will wait for the backup process and we'll come back when it's done. All right, so now that Carbon Copy Cloner is done, what we're gonna do is go ahead and open up Clover Configurator. And then what you're looking for is the Mount EFI. So we'll click that. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna give you a list of all the hard drives that are currently plugged into your computer that have an EFI on them. So what you're looking for is the hard drive that you are currently booted onto and the one that you just cloned to. So in my case, I am booted into the EFI on EFI Backup OS X. So we're gonna go ahead and mount partition. And then our clone drive was EFI on EFI Tinker. So we're gonna go ahead and mount that as well. Then we're gonna go ahead and open up Finder. The first one should be my boot drive. So you can see this has my EFI. The clone one should be empty. So if we click this, you see there's nothing on here. If you do have stuff in there, don't worry, we'll fix that, but it should be empty. So all you're gonna do is copy the contents of this and put it onto your clone drive. And now we have both of them on there. And basically what this is doing is copying your kex, your config, and your bootloader. One thing that I see on a lot of forums is people say that you can use Carbon Copy Cloner, but it's not a bootable backup. And they're right. It's because you need to copy the EFI to the EFI on your new clone drive. If you don't do that, you will not have the bootloader on there and you will still need to install that. So to make it easy, just mount both of your EFIs and take the EFI from your main drive and copy it to your clone drive. This will have your config, your kex, and your bootloader, and everything will be bootable from here. So at this point, the next thing to do is unplug all the hard drives in your computer and then boot from the backup and make sure it's actually bootable. One reason people think that Carbon Copy Cloner creates bootable backups is they boot with both the hard drives in there, and what's actually happening is it's using the bootloader from your main drive and not the clone drive. So if your clone drive didn't have a bootloader on it, it can still boot because of the main drive. So unplug that and make sure everything boots from just the clone one, just to verify that everything's there. But if you copy your EFI and everything, you should be just fine. But a lot of times you'll see people saying after your clone with Carbon Copy Cloner, you need to reinstall the bootloader, which you do not need to do if you copy the EFI over. So I personally think this is the easiest way to make a bootable Hackintosh drive. I think it's a lot easier than using Time Machine just because there's zero downtime. If my main hard drive does die for whatever reason, I can immediately boot into the second one. And that's something that's really valuable to me. I don't want to have to wait for Time Machine to work and then reinstalling everything with my EFI. This is just a lot easier, and I don't know why this isn't really more talked about, because I personally think it's the easiest way to do this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.